Hey guys, welcome to the video. Hit the subscribe button, that's red, and hit the bell and like the video. Send us comments if you like the video. Bye bye.
Alright, this TK with Cuts by Kelly, and here's another tape of fade video for you. This is my oldest son, by the way. I did my other son's hair, and obviously my oldest son wanted to get his done on the video too. But anyway, you can see I'm using my Slimline Pros and making my ball line. Here I go with the Masters, and I'm knocking out the weight. You can do this with a number 2 guard to be safe. What I have right now is a number 1 guard, but if you want to be safe, just start that off with the number 2 guard. Now I'm going against the grain with that same number 1 guard, and it's all the way open, and right now I'm just knocking out the weight, trying to get that transition from the high hair to the bald. Make that transition real smooth. In his haircut, he don't want me to touch the top. He's trying to let it grow, so I'm just gonna do the tape on the side, but I won't be doing any kind of touch up on the top where I usually would trim the wild ends and stuff like that. Right now we're just gonna focus on the tape on the side. But I have my number 1 guard, and I'm just trying to make this transition a little smooth. And what you're going for is something like that. As you can see from the dark hair on top, it kind of blends to the side. You can see it a little better right there. It's starting to blend in. And then from there we can just start fading into what we have. So typically once I blend the sides in, I knock out the weight at the top with the 1 guard, then I'm gonna put on my 0 guard and start my fading steps. And y'all should know it by now, the fading steps is the same. I go close quarter, 3/4 open with no guard, and then I put on my 0 guard and do those same steps, close quarter, 3/4 open. So here I set my guideline right here in the middle with no guard on, and that just let me know where I'm at in the fade. And from there I got my 0 guard on, close, quarter, 3/4 open. Remember, you just want to use the corner of your clippers. You have more control that way. If you use the whole clipper, you can take off too much hair, and the rule of thumb is once you take the hair off, you can't put it back on. So if you use the corner of your clipper, you kind of prevent that from happening. Now this can be time consuming, especially for beginners, because you have to develop the eyes like I always say. So just be patient with it, and you really just have to see it, because you can overdo it and you can underdo it. So just gotta find that middle ground. But if you go over the steps, you'll have a pretty decent fade.
Bring you the moment they disagree. It's like everybody think they can do this better than me. All these CHH critics make me want to leave Christian rap, but if I quit it, they would say the devil.
Like I said, it's the same steps over and over. I'm coming from the bottom now, working my way up to that middle line that I set in the beginning. And I'm just using the corner of my clipper to blend it out. If I'm not explaining this good, I just leave a comment. Maybe there's a better way I can break it down, but this is the method I'm always teaching. With, so hopefully you're understanding what you're hearing and what you're seeing. And notice how I turn the clipper all the way to the side like that. The more you turn your clipper, the less hair is going to take off. So you have you could play around with the angles of your clippers to see how it works for you. So you see that tape on the side? It's decent. Like I said, if it was a beginner fade, that would be cool. Line them up and it'll be cool. But like I always do, I go over the fade and then I have to go back to try to tighten up the fade. I have my clippers adjusted here. I didn't get my blade modified. I just zero gapped them, and I really like the Slimline Pros. They work real good. I have the cordless T outliners as well, but lately I've been preferring to use the Slimlines. So you can see here I go, I'm going back and clean it up. I started with the ball, now I got no guard on and I'm going close. And I'm just trying to clean that area up just to make it look better. Make the transition look a little more smooth. So this is really, you go through the steps, but you really just want to see what you're doing to make sure you don't take too much off. Because if you continue to take too much off, you'll eventually bring that fade up too high. Then you got to redo it all over again. So just be mindful when you're doing this.
I'ma speak life to the death of me. Sights on the heavenly. God over money, meaning God over everything. We don't make time for the lies of the enemy. I do it all for Christ, not the vibes of the energy. Right for the embassy.
So once again, you can see how I have my clipper turned all the way to the side. It gives me a little more freedom. When I do that, I kind of cheat. I don't have to put on a zero guard to go and catch those areas. I could just keep my clipper open with no guard and go in those areas and still be safe, because it's only going to take off a little bit. You'll also see on the other side of this haircut, I'll do some fading with just the liners. Really not for any purpose. I just was cutting his hair and I just forgot about training, so I just started doing the lining thing. So you can just see it. For the most part, you won't be doing that, especially for beginners. You'll just be doing your fading with clippers. But it's a good thing to see as well too, though, because you can see once you develop the eyes for it, you could pretty much fade with anything. I've seen people fade with a straight edge razor. So it's really about the eye development on how far you will go with your fading. So we're doing the same thing on the back. We already set our ball line at the bottom. Here is the middle line all the way open with no guard. And then we'll have our top line with the zero guard all the way open. And before I do all this, I knock the hair down. I go with the grain with the number 2 guard or the number 1. But like I said before, just like I said on the side, to be safe, you can do it with the number 2 guard. Can't stress it enough, just use the corner of your clipper. It's going to take off less, but you have more control when it does that. It's pretty much similar to how you do your will do a lining. If you're unsure, you just take off a little bit at a time, and then you can take off more if you have to freshen up the lining. So that's the same thing we're doing when we're using the corner of our clipper. We're taking off a little, and then as we go, we just continue to use the corner and take off more as need be. I remember when you're setting your guidelines, it just depends on how high you want that taper or how low you want the taper. So you have to determine that depending on the shape of the head. For me, I'm checking out my client, and like I said, depending on the shape of the head, if it's a child or if the neck is long, I tend to bring the tape up a little more higher. If the neck is short, I like to keep the taper a little low, and that's for the purpose of, if the neck is long, I don't want the taper to be real low because it's going to make the neck look even longer. And if the neck is short, I like to leave more hair on just to make the neck look a little longer. So it's just things like that. As you cut more, you'll just get a feel of it. And that's how you're able to personalize it to your clients. It's still the same method with the fade, but you can kind of make it unique to each person as you determine it and use your own sense of style with it.
I guess I was hoping I would change your mind. Maybe you may never know just what you...
So you can see the fade is coming in pretty good. We have some spots, but as always, just go over it the first time for your little rough draft, and then you do your cleanup after that.
You never know. 02 Valentine's, I remember writing you. Spent my Hollywood video check surprising you. This could be our last one, so I'm going all in. It sucks to be in love with a future long lost friend, knowing that it's finna end, whether or not you wanted to. The time is flying by and now you're leaving in a month or two.
So you can see right now it's like a spot check. Just looking at spots, going to address them. Anything that we don't like, we address it. So we're about to touch this lining on the side and around the ear, and then you'll see it bring the tapers and the fades together. It'll make it look a whole lot better. Like I said, less is more when you're doing your lining. If your clipper is sharp enough, it can pretty much line up the littlest of hair and make it look sharp. If it's dull, that might be the problem. You might just need to get more blades, because if it keep coming out dull, you would tend to take off more and more hair when really you don't need to. You just need a new blade. So that's something you want to keep in mind. So you see we're doing this lineup. Like I said, try to take off as less as possible. You want to make sure, if you have a mirror, you want to put the mirror in front of them so you can see if it's even or not. If not, you just have to rely on that vision. And that could be tricky. But for the most part, if you just keep the head straight and continue to look at it, you can get it fairly straight. But if you have the luxury of a mirror, please use that. The mirror can guide you. So you can see right there on the side, the taper is not blended all the way through. But this is what I was talking about. I'm going to show you, well, how I kind of blended out with the liners. And I solely did this not consciously. I just cutting his hair and just started to do it. So it's not nothing I'm really trying to train on, but I guess this is just some extra right there. But you can see it pretty much blended it out pretty good.
A lot of people though, but I don't know that you gon' understand that at 3 and 4. And even when I be at home, I don't be at home playing catch with them while I'm holding my freaking phone. Trying to be a father and a CEO. I'm trying. And how it's going, honestly, I don't even know. looking at me trying to figure out.
So you see them Slimline Pros are pretty sharp. They got enough power with them too to even make the ball line to set up for a for a ball fade.
Sometimes it just looks good from the outside. I seem like the awesomest husband the most. You probably figure that from my Facebook post. Cause I can post snippets and make it look dope.
So I'm about to prep them up with the enhancements, and then we're just gonna go over that line again. So you can see on the side the taper looks pretty good. And we're just gonna touch up this lining, and even at the end of the haircut, I still, if I see any spots that I don't like, I continue to touch it up. But the more you do it, the better you get, like I always say. And so usually I'm averaging like 30 to 45 minutes on my haircuts. And I just started to wash every client's hair with the haircut, so I'm still getting it around 45 minutes with the hair wash. So, like I said, the more you do it, the better you get. When you first start, it might take a while, but by you doing it over and over, you'll get accustomed to it. So like I said, right now for me, with the hair wash, it might take me 45. Sometimes I'm pushing 50. But it just depends on how much fading I have to do. But if you really like it, if this video was any way helpful to you, please subscribe, put a comment below, share, just get the word out. This is TK with Cuts by Kelly, and I appreciate you.
Better than me. All these CHH critics make me want to leave Christian rap, but if I quit it, they would say the devil did it. Picture that. They looking at me trying to figure out how I got it all together, but sometimes it just looks good from the outside. Looking through the window and never really tell you what that house like. If you ain't never been in, sometimes it just looks good from the outside.